I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Aeons. Welcome to Strange Aeons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa down there.
Hello.
That means I'm Kelly. We're doing a very special snowed-in Zoom episode today. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you know what's going on here. Snowmageddon.
For real.
For real.
This time. Yeah. So we're behind on this one because I was literally stranded up in Bellingham. I know Eric can't even get out of his condo. Vanessa, what's your place like?
I wouldn't even try. They have not done anything for this little exit off of Kirkland. So I'm just not even going to try to move my car out of the driveway at this point.
Probably smart. I had a wild drive home from Bellingham, and maybe I'll post one of the cool pictures from my brother's place. I mean, if you got to get stranded somewhere, you want it to be up there because it's gorgeous. But I think that the driving on the freeway was just fine. It is the people who have decided, hey, the speed limit is 70, man. How come you're only doing 55? Those are the people. I mean, driving down, there were plenty of cars off the side of the road on the freeway and into a ditch or facing the wrong way, stuff like that. So,
oh my God. Well, I had a really harrowing drive when this all started. So in the morning of the day after Christmas, right when everything just started dumping it down, going up I-5, where 20 miles per hour was about the best you should be going. And there were people trying to fly down at 50. And I was like, see you later when you're in a ditch. And sure enough, there were just car after car after car down. There was one police cruiser that got totally smashed by some idiot who got too close to them. And it was insanity. It was just a giant ice rink. So yeah, this is not the time to try to show off.
Yeah, no. Yeah. We had a hole discovered in our roof.
Oh no.
So we've got it, we've got the roof and then we've got the space between that and the ceiling itself, and the ceiling started dripping. It's like, oh shit. So of course the guys were supposed to come out and look at it tomorrow. So now they're coming out and looking at it from a week from tomorrow.
Sure.
Like it's not actively dripping right now. So we'll see what happens when the snow starts to melt though.
Get a nice bucket. I'll be fine.
The fun part of the bucket is the cats are stupid sometimes.
Oh no.
And they'll knock the bucket over because it's on the stairs. It's in a horribly inconvenient place.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's intentional or accidental, to be honest, but they've knocked it over a few times.
If you're just listening to this the regular way you do, I think Eric is going to put this one up on YouTube as a video.
Yep.
So if you missed our lovely faces, you can see me in my Halloween lighting because I got a huge heater pointed at my face.
That's what that is.
Nice.
And also, if you haven't had enough of my broken glass vocal cords, you can hear me on the CZ Media podcast episode. I think it's the brand new episode that just came out. Carlos and I talk about literally nothing. It's mostly just us laughing. So
nice.
There's that.
He's going to steal you from us. I'm really upset about this situation. You need to fall out over something.
I was out with him and he's like, hey, Vanessa, first he's like, Eric blew me off. We had scheduled an episode and then he blew me off. And I was like, that sounds like Eric. You can't trust him.
There you go.
And then he's like, Vanessa didn't even respond to being on the episode. I was like, yeah, that sounds like Vanessa too.
Well, you can't just message me on a random social media platform like Instagram and expect me to respond.
That's all he uses is Instagram.
That's not my fault because
I noticed that. I even said, "Hey, could you email me the specifics where we go?" And he sends it to Instagram. I was like, "Okay."
Helpful. Yeah. No, I don't. I honestly didn't realize for probably a few years that people could respond to your pictures on Instagram. And I look back through and I was like, "Oh my God." It's like messages and hearts. Like, I'm not like tech phobic. It's just there's a lot of options out there, and that just hasn't been the one that I've rabbit holed. So.
Well, we're recording this. What is this? 2 days after Christmas, but 2 days before Christmas, there was a big deal when the new Matrix movie was released in theaters and on your HBO Max. I watched it. Did anybody else watch it?
I did.
Yeah.
I have not, because I saw the trailer. I'm going, okay, this looks like it's going to be either phenomenally stupid and a lot of fun to watch, or just phenomenally stupid. So it was not in a rush for me. There's a couple others I needed to get in before today.
Well, I thought it was straight up trash, so I'm waiting to see what Vanessa thinks of it.
Okay, well, I did that thing that maybe was a good idea, maybe was not a good idea, where I went ahead and watched all of the previous Matrix movies beforehand.
Oh, jeez.
I had a very strong feeling that the Wachowski sisters would go ahead, or is it just Lana?
Just one.
Just Lana,
this one.
Yeah, would go ahead and continue in the canon. And the canon, if anyone remembers, is 4 movies deep if you include the Animatrix, and possibly more if you include the video game, which is apparently also canon. And they are a deep believer of lore and of world building. And so if you've seen all 4, I feel like this movie makes perfect sense. Fits right in to the exact thing they've been doing this whole time. It is not Matrix 2, it is Matrix 4. So
I didn't say it didn't make sense. I thought it was just fucking awful.
There were moments that I didn't love, but I didn't hate it. I mean, I like Keanu Reeves, so
I do too. I love Keanu.
I loved the first movie. The first movie was fantastic, and I have never watched 2 and 3 again. I was like,
that was I'd seen them in theater, and that was it. I hated them, and I watched them back, and there was some moments where I think I was a little unfair. Like, some of it was better than I remembered, but it's still like a lore that I don't know how much I care about. Like, that underground city is such a big deal, and all the different inside world characters, and I just, And I just didn't like what they did with Trinity in this one. I like, she's not the one, and they keep trying to retrograde it and be like, no, actually she is kind of the one, but not really, but kind of. Like, she can do some of this cool shit too. And it's like, you gotta stop. I'm sorry, you gotta fucking stop. You made a choice in the first movie, and now you have to stick with it. So sorry. Or don't, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
What was the worst part of it for you, Kelly?
I kept waiting for, even though 2 was awful, there was that amazing freeway battle. And even though 3 is not as awful, but still not very good, there was the amazing end battle in that. I kept hoping for some really cool set piece in this. And they have the zombie attack, basically. And I was like, oh, okay. And people, throwing themselves off buildings to try and stop them. And I was like, that's an interesting idea, but that felt like that was the climax then. Yeah. And I just, I don't know. I'll tell you what pissed me off most. Lawrence Fishburne not being in it.
I wonder why he wasn't.
I heard an interview with him that he said he wondered why he wasn't also.
Oh, that sucks. I will say the thing I like the most about the movie is there's some talented new actors in there. I think it's a they, them. I want to say girl, but I'm not entirely sure. But the person who's kind of with the blue hair, the captain who's leading Neo through a lot of the journey, like, was just fantastic to watch. I like the character that replaced Lawrence Fishburne. I'm sorry, not character, the actor who replaced Lawrence Fishburne. But yeah, not having him in it is stupid. It was really stupid.
Yeah. So what about you guys? Did you get a chance to watch things since we've last spoken?
I've watched so much stuff.
Oh, let's hear it.
I'm trying to even think. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do I even go with? In anticipation of Spider-Man, which we may or may not end up talking about at some point in this thing, I watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, all 3 of them. I've had a lot of rewatching last week since I've seen you guys, all of the Matrixes and all of the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans.
Wow.
And those movies are wild. I had forgotten how much of Sam Raimi was in them. And it was just a real treat to sit through and experience this completely, I almost want to say zany and cartoony. That might not be right, but over the top, energetic, stylistic filmmaking. And I discovered that the third Raimi Spider-Man, which I literally I hated so bad. I asked for my money back. I got it the first time I saw it.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, one of the few times. That was a million times better than when I first saw it, because when I first saw it, I thought he was supposed to be cool when he was like Dark Spider-Man. And he's going around like hitting on the ladies and being all cool and wearing the black like button-up shirt. And I was like, God, why did people think he's cool? He's not cool. And watching it this time, I was like, oh, the filmmakers, no one thinks he's cool. He's not supposed to be cool. Every single human being he walks past gives him a look of disgust and confusion. Every single one for 10 minutes. I somehow missed that when I first watched it. So instead of feeling like pushed out of the film, I felt like I was laughing with the film. And that was a big treat. A lot of the rest of it was lame, of course, because there's like 4 villains in one movie. Yeah. And Venom is completely fucked up and Topher Grace is awful. But that one bit made me feel better. So,
good.
Having gotten that the first time I watched it, I still thought the film was shit.
Sure.
So I don't know, which I think I was just mostly disappointed because Spider-Man 2 was spectacular.
So
it was amazing.
Hey.
It was sensational.
Spider-Man 2 is incredible. And I think part of what happened with Spider-Man 3 is I believe he was forced to do a Venom story and he didn't want to. I think he wanted to do a Sandman story. And that's why like there's so much of that guy in it. But yeah, like he clearly had no idea who Venom is at all.
Yeah.
It's always also a big treat. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, before we dive into probably that one, Spider-Man 3, right? I watched a fairly unusual one that in my quest to see as many of the weird horror films of 2021 called Sound of Violence.
I'm familiar with this one.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately, it's a fantastic idea wrapped up in a fairly standard serial killer film.
Mm.
The idea, though, is cool enough to carry the movie for a large portion of it. It's that a girl who loses her hearing when she's really young sees her dad killing her mom. And in that moment of violence, she hears again. And so when she gets older, she becomes like she's doing a sound art project or something where she can hear more or less now, but she's trying to hit that moment that she hit when she was a kid. So it's kind of a substitute for a guy getting off by killing people, but it's an inventive version of it. Mm-hmm. And there's some talent in this film that I wish the script lived up to the amazing idea. Because, man, the idea is cool and the execution is really cool when she starts to figure out how to do it. So there's a lot to really like in it. But I definitely want to see whatever they do next because there's some good stuff in that film.
Well, yeah, I'll bring up the elephant in the room. We all went and saw Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
And I think, Vanessa, you saw it first, and I get the feeling you just loved this movie.
I just loved this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fixed a wound in me that was left behind by both the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 being awful and never really getting any kind of conclusion for Topher Grace, and also for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, which I like Andrew Garfield as an actor, but those movies fucking sucked for the most part. I mean, I like Emma Stone too, and I like parts of each movie, but not overall, it felt really awful. So I felt like this movie really redeemed every horrible moment that was lingering from those in a way I didn't expect. And yeah.
I really liked that first Andrew Garfield one. I mean, I really liked it a lot. The second one, I hated almost as much as I liked that first one.
Sure.
So
I
go ahead, Eric.
I haven't seen either of his films, so
Okay.
but and I hadn't seen Far From Home, so we watched Far From Home, and then went and watched this one.
Okay.
So nice,
Helpful, very helpful.
yes.
And you loved it?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of heavy drama at times almost. The music is like, wow. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. It feels like, well, it is a kickoff to the next round of Marvel movies in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
No, what's Strange, I think, is the next one coming out, directed by Sam Raimi.
Right?
So that, I think it's a good kickoff to wherever Marvel goes next.
Yeah, I had some real problems with this movie.
Whoa! Oh, I should have figured. I liked it so much. I should.
Well, he set us both up to say first before he went, so I knew this was coming.
I hate.
I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he is just fantastic. Although he's getting a little long in the tooth, I was really glad to see that they're kind of pushing out of the high school age.
Yes.
I hate Spider-Man in a magic movie. I fucking hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorcery and Spider-Man, I think, is a really bad mix. I also hate Spider-Man in an end of the world.
I knew that was one of the things you're going to say.
Where
I was watching this going, Kelly's going to hate this aspect of it.
I just like Spider-Man fights villains in New York, and sometimes they're super powered villains, but he mostly is taking care of criminals and all of that stuff. So putting him in the middle of an end of the world scenario that he was going to save the universe, and I was like, I don't want my Spider-Man in this story.
Well, he's been an Avenger in the comics too.
We've already seen him in space.
Done that.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk spoilers on this movie, but we're going to wait until after the end of the show, so that if you haven't seen this movie, it's big enough that we don't want to talk about everything that's going on. So after you hear the music and me talk about the podcast at the end, we will talk about Spider-Man Far From Home in detail.
Yes.
Shall we return to our regular? I just got to ask you guys, have you finished Hawkeye?
Yes. Now I'm trying to remember what the end of Hawkeye is.
Well, it's got the Kingpin.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Apparently a scene was cut from the end that shows what actually happened.
Oh, well, I would have liked to have known what actually happened because they made it look like something happened. And I was like, is this why we brought him into this?
Yeah. So, but
there's no way he's dead.
My guess is they killed him, showed him dead at the end, and then they said, no, we can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, like it doesn't make sense. I mean, they shot him
back to a regular show.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're back to the regular show. Why, is this too spoilery?
No, not really.
I mean, I don't know. Like, if you like Hawkeye, hopefully you've watched the last one. You've had 3 days to have done it, or whatever. A week to have done it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it finally grew on me. It finally clicked for me. The last 2 episodes of Hawkeye, I finally liked Hawkeye. Up until then, I did not like it, and I can't tell. I think it was the music. I think that's where I'm landing on.
That's so funny that's what you're bothered by. I don't think I've even noticed the music.
It was just like wrong. It was just wrong for the whole. Like, I was like, this is not the music for this scene, people. Like, pull it back, rescore it. And then the last 2 episodes, I was like, music is not bothering me. Okay, we're good. All right, I can enjoy the scene now. So maybe. But I love her relationship with Hawkeye, and and I think I was like, you guys better freaking explain the watch, and they did. So that was
no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
It was a bullshit MacGuffin the entire time. It really pissed me off.
What did the watch have on it at the end?
I know who she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know what superhero she is and everything now. I was like, I don't care. It was your personal watch, and that's why it was so important to get back.
I mean, I'm sure it somehow has something like some kind of something attached to it.
Probably tells time very well.
No, it's got to do something. It must have.
I'm guessing an official Avengers watch probably has something more inside of it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just a Shield watch. It's not an Avengers watch.
Yeah, Shield watch.
Okay, because Shield does nothing with gadgets and gizmos.
Right. I was disappointed with most of it. So
maybe I liked it so much because I didn't hate, but I didn't enjoy the rest of it. So I was like, hey, this is great.
I think I don't know. I know that Eric likes Hawkeye a lot more than I did ever in the comics. So I think that I just was really hoping he would grow on me through the movies and everything. And he just hasn't.
West Coast Avengers, if you can read that and like Hawkeye and that, everything else is icing.
Right.
Is West Coast Avengers not good? Is that what you're saying?
It's fine.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's in Ed Brubaker. Is that who wrote him? Like there was like a really good Hawkeye series not that long ago that this show is based off of.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Matt Fraction?
Matt Fraction. Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt Fraction.
Yeah, that was very good. Would have been a tougher story to pull off now, though. So,
right.
Plus, he wouldn't introduce the person I'm assuming is going to take over the Hawkeye name in the movies.
Sure.
By doing that story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you guys feel about taking a little break, and then we are coming back and we're doing our countdown of our top 5 films, TV, all of that stuff.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back.
Good morning. Yesterday, you wake up and time has slipped away, and suddenly it's hard to find the memories you left behind. Remember? Do you remember the laughter and the tears, the shadows of misty yesteryears? You get the yearning now and then to bring the moments back again. Remember, will you remember the times of your life?
Kodak film for the times of your life.
We have returned. So the way we're going to do this is a little round robin session. And if one of us has a film earlier than the person who is about to talk about it, they can just pipe up and say, wait, I've got that one lower on my list. And we'll wait to talk about it then. All right. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
Hey, how much crossover do you think we got?
I would say like half. We'll probably have half.
I think I'm going to have crossover with Eric on one and none on with you.
You never know. This was a weird freaking year, I got to say.
It was a weird year.
This was a hard one for me because I realized I didn't love a lot of movies.
Yeah.
It seemed to be the year of the depressing horror film.
Yeah.
There was a shit ton of just sad, everybody hates life through the entire movie horror films.
I realized almost all of my favorite films from this year were actually 2020 movies that I just saw this year. So that did not help.
That
I ran into that same problem where I was like, well, I'm going to talk about this. And I pull it up on IMDb and it was like, 2020? Shit.
It was good. I ran into that too, but I was like, okay, let's look further into this. Like I found one that on Letterboxd listed as 1999. I'm going, what the hell? Then I go to IMDb and at the top it says 2020. Then you scroll down to where it says the actual release date and it was 2021. So I'm like,
Oh,
so whatever, man. Because they listed if it premiered in a festival, but then doesn't go to any other medium for a year. They still say it
Nice.
came out that festival date. So we're good.
so you cheated, is what you're saying.
No, I looked up. I actually have the release dates for every one of my top 5. They're all 2021, even the ones that said 2020 on the IMDb top.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll start. My number 5, I know that you guys did not like nearly as much as I did. So I would be surprised if anyone else has The Deep House on their list.
No, but I didn't actually manage to see it.
Oh,
I would put that on my honorable mentions. It's down in the ones I'm going, top 10, it might have been there.
well, a little bit about it. It was written and directed by Alexandra Bustillo, who did Candisha. Have you guys seen that one?
Mm-mm.
That one is really good.
Yes.
And it's on Prime, I think. And I didn't realize he was the director of Leatherface.
Oh,
really?
Huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it starred Camille Rowe and James Jagger, who is Mick Jagger's son, and also was in Sound of Violence, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
So
good acting in it.
This one had to be on my list just because the gimmick was so great. An underwater haunted house. I wasn't expecting much from this, and I got way more than that. So I was like, yay. It had a lot going against it, not the least of which being a Blumhouse film. But I think it's one of the better Blumhouse films in several years. So
nice.
Oh, well, my number 5 was nothing. I don't think it's on either of your lists, and that's just fine. My number 5 was The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt. That one.
I did not see
Amazon, the free Amazon movie that did not. I don't think even went to theaters at all. I think they just skipped it. Right. Directed by Chris McKay, written by Zach Dean. This movie, I know that everyone else hated it, but I just had such a good time. It was like exactly what I needed in that moment. I just wanted to watch something fucking stupid, but with great monsters and like a heartwarming story. Nice. And I got everything I could have ever dreamed of out of The Tomorrow War.
I've got a funny story about this because while I was doing my research and looking for stuff, The Tomorrow War was one of the movies that popped up. And I remembered that everybody hated it and you liked it. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if this is on Vanessa's list?
Well done.
I just can't help it. Like, I just kept looking at all the different movies that I've seen this year. And there's some good ones, but like, I was kind of going with the ones that made me feel something. Although I did leave Zack Snyder's Justice League off of my list, so you're welcome.
I thought of you in the theater for Spider-Man when the Roland Emmerich trailer for, was it Moon or something like that, rolled.
Oh, right.
I'm so excited, you guys.
That movie looks fucking great.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's going to be awful, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my God, it's going to be so good. I can't wait.
His trailers always look good, so
The moon.
Okay, anyways. I'll preface just by saying I just did my list as all horror films. So
okay.
I don't know if that's different, but I don't care.
Mine's genre.
Anyway, so I went with my number 5 might be on Kelly's list or it might be in his mentions, but Come True.
Not on my list, but I thought about it. I really liked it.
That's good. I was a little surprised at the Rotten Tomatoes rating at 86 for critics, 58 from the crowd. It's like,
it's too smart. Too smart of a movie.
Yeah. Directed by Anthony Scott Burns, who directed the hell out of this film because it needs a lot of massaging. It needs a lot of work. This isn't a film that you just go, well, here it is. I'm guessing you probably like this better than his second unit directing movie, In the Tall Grass.
The Tall Grass, a road movie. The Tall Grass next to a road. I remember that film.
Anyways, but I like this one because it's unique. It's interesting. The story it tells is not cut and paste by any means. when it does dream world, it does something really interesting with it. And it's, really like that one. So my number 5 movie came out March 2021.
Right. That takes us to number 4. I know for a fact this is not on either of your lists. I don't think you guys even bothered to watch it after I sang its praises. And that is Blood Red Sky, the Netflix Die Hard on a plane with vampires.
I knew you liked it. I didn't know you loved it that much. Oh my gosh.
I really liked this movie. I thought it was a really smart idea. It was directed by Peter Thorworth, who wrote or directed Bang Boom Bang and Not My Day, and written by Stefan Holtz, who's done a ton of German television, and starring Perry Baumeister, who's also done a ton of German television. And these 3 people like work together constantly. This was his first American film. I loved the design of the vampires. I loved how claustrophobic it got, and I loved that the tension was being ratcheted by the fact that they were going to be, the whole transatlantic flight that they managed to, avoid the sun. Well, when the terrorists figure out what she is, they're like, turn the plane around. We're going into the sun. I was like, yes. So,
Yeah, I do need to see that.
Really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, got to see it.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess I have to as well. Well, my number 4 might surprise both of you, actually. But my number 4 is Werewolves Within.
That does surprise me.
I was expecting you to say it was higher on your list, Kelly. No, okay.
Wow. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it a lot. It was just, it was just a super fun film that, I don't know, it took the werewolf genre into a place that I hadn't seen before. It felt just really entertained me. And I thought the actor in it, Sam Richardson, was really great. The director is Josh Rubin, who did Scare Me, which was another fun film that came out this year. God, I don't know. It was just this great whodunit / comedy. And I normally hate horror comedy, but it was really actually funny to me. So
you hate comedy in general.
It's true. It's true. I don't think anything's funny. It's really awful. It's become a problem. The number of times I have to say to people, I don't like slapstick, and I do not like body noise humor or body humor in general. So
I think that one is fairly standard with a lot of, at least women I've known, that
snooty women,
the fart humor is not appreciated greatly.
It's just not funny. It's just like, oh.
You know what? I don't want to live in a world where farts aren't
That's
funny.
right.
Farts are always funny.
That's right.
I think the director of Paper Tigers would agree with you, since I fought tooth and nail to get the farts removed. Like, I was pretty much yelling, begging for the farts to be removed, and they kept them in. So I lost that war.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I like this movie fine. I guess I wanted it to be funnier. So.
Slightly different senses of humor, apparently. Just enough.
All righty. My number 4 was Bloodthirsty.
I don't even remember this.
It's this is another one with the Rotten Tomatoes of interesting. 80 from critics, 30 from the audience. It's like, damn. But the storyline is a big pop singer is having a hard time doing her next album. So she teams up with a music producer with a very bad reputation. Used to be in a boy band in the 90s. But and it's the story of her discovering that she is not entirely human, shall we say. It's kind of dramatic, but there's just something in the way it was told, especially the ending, that I really liked and I kept thinking about. And I figure if I keep thinking about something, it probably got me more than I was expecting. It's directed by Amelia Moses, I think this is her first feature. She's done a bunch of shorts and some other directing. Well directed, well acted, and just an interesting small there's basically 4 characters more or less, but 3 primaries, and that's it. So it's a smart, interesting, well-told little tale. I liked it.
I think I saw the poster for this on Shudder,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got yellow eyes and blood.
Yeah. Once you started talking about it, that was ringing a bell. So was that good? I need to check this out.
I enjoyed it, and like I was saying earlier, this year was weird enough that 2 weeks from now, I probably could have an entirely different top 5. So it's like, maybe I didn't like that one.
Well, okay. My number 3, I know is not on either of your lists after I sang its praises again, and I've heard nothing from you. And that is Finch.
Have not gotten to see it yet, but really want to.
How could you possibly, watching all 3 Spider-Man movies and
Matrix and everything?
All the
or all
Matrix
5
movies.
Spider-Man movies?
There was a comparison you made in the film that made me go, man, I really want to see that, but I am going to want to be in the right mood for it. With the comparison to the Wilson movie and what's the Pixar one?
Wall-E?
Yeah. Going, I do want to see that.
Yeah. Well, it directed by Miguel Sapochnik, who's done a ton of genre television and everything, and then written by Craig Luck and Ivor Powell, and starring Tom Hanks. It's post-apocalyptic. It's got a puppy in it, and it's got a robot in it. It's just a really strong little film. I got a little weepy at the end, a little dusty.
I would imagine so.
There was some pollen in the air that day.
For sure.
Well, I'll jump into my number 3, which I also know is not on either of your lists. This is such a divisive year because, again, the content was, I don't know, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just, I didn't love most things. So my number 3 is Free Guy.
Nice. If I did not do a horror list, this would have been on my list. I really like this film.
I did too. If we had done a top 10, this definitely would have been on my list.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
This didn't make my top 5 as well.
Yeah, totally understandable. For anybody who doesn't remember, this is that Ryan Reynolds movie that's been in theaters being advertised since months before COVID started. And then once COVID hit, it was just one of the trailers they kept playing. And then as soon as, we started having movies back in theaters, the trailers for Free Guy started popping back up again. So I was anticipating this movie for probably 2 years by the time I saw it. Absolutely fantastic. It's directed by somebody who doesn't do a lot of directing, which is Sean Levy, but he did act as a producer on a lot of things, including Arrival, Spectacular Now, and Stranger Things. So this was sort of a big sort of breakthrough for him. We got Ryan Reynolds in it, Jodie Comer, Taika Waititi is in it, and it's just fucking fun. Yeah. I actually didn't mind. I was a little worried that the video game stuff would ring hollow and empty, and it would feel, I don't know, cheap somehow, but it felt like somebody cared. And it felt like somebody paid a lot of attention to these characters. And I don't know. I don't think I've enjoyed a virtual film that much since Truman Show. So.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. I have to agree with you. I thought it was very, very entertaining.
Very good.
It's hard not to like everything that Ryan Reynolds does. Because now he's just playing Ryan Reynolds. I mean, his Mint commercials are the exact same Deadpool character too. So you're just like, oh, I'll watch whatever he does.
Yeah, no, completely. I've gone back through the Ryan Reynolds back catalog now, where I'm watching things like The Proposal just for funsies. And there is a lot of, the Ryan Reynolds we know and love today. There's lots of glimpses of him in there. Sure. So all of a sudden it's way more enjoyable, where I'm not like, oh, this guy who sucks and his career sucks and everything about him sucks. I'm now like, yes, make that quip at her and tell her how she's wrong, Ryan. I want to hear more.
Well, just before you get into Just Friends, which you forgot about.
Oh, no, I watched it.
Shoot. I was going to say, maybe you could toss Finch in there and watch a real movie.
Yeah. And what's the one where he hears? Oh, I think it's literally called like Hearing Voices or The Voices. His James Bond movie. I haven't seen that one yet either. So
I think Eric liked it.
I don't remember that one. Buried was pretty much. If it was before Buried, I was fairly uninterested in Ryan Reynolds. After that one, I'm like, okay, check this guy out. So
I was definitely was awakened from Deadpool. Valentine's Day 20, whatever year that was, 15, 16. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. My life cannot go back to how it was before I knew that Ryan Reynolds was actually excellent.
Anyway. So I know this will definitely not be on one list, but it might be on another person's list. Number 3 is Last Night in Soho.
I've got it lower.
All right. So we'll wait till we get there. So sliding into number 2, Kelly.
Well, it's Last Night in Soho.
Hey.
Let's talk about how much we all love this movie. Written and directed by Edgar Wright, starring Thomasine McKenzie and Anna Taylor-Joy. Just a fantastic film, fantastic looking, wonderful soundtrack, perfectly acted, really, really satisfying.
Really well
Wouldn't you agree, Eric?
Oh yeah, really well acted. The idea of switching from worlds to world, I thought was really interesting and fairly well done most of the time. And I think Edgar Wright just keeps being really goddamn good at making movies. See, the nice part is with this being on video, you get to see Vanessa's restraint.
Folks, this is what we have to deal with every week. Just her gritting her teeth and going, I respect you, so I'm not going to slap you.
I mean, I can't, I don't want to say anything because I could be wrong, but the feeling I have inside is, Well,
11% of people on Rotten Tomatoes did not like it. So you're not the only one.
1 in 10. Right? I'm probably the same number of people who have gingivitis. I don't, some other 1 in 10 whose shoe size is 7.5. I have something in common with some people out there.
I want this movie to hurry up and get on a streaming platform because I want to see it again. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, streaming for free.
Right. Yeah. Well, in my case, maybe, a really cool Shout Factory DVD or Blu-ray release of it.
Yeah, with postcards of all the different posters. I don't know do you guys both follow Edgar on Instagram?
No, I don't.
Think so.
I didn't know I could follow people on Instagram.
You follow Edgar on Instagram, and he's been posting all of the fan created posters.
Oh, cool.
And some of them are spectacular. So the fact that he's reposting them makes me go, I hope this guy gets a job out of this. This really cool artist that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah,
that's how it happens. That's how. Oh, that's so cool. That's incredible. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
Posters so much better.
I think we're done heaping praise upon this film. If you want to go into your number 2,
talk a lot about it before. So.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's a beautiful movie. It's such a beautiful atmospheric movie that should really move a lot faster. Anyway, Rotten. My number 2.
Wow, that was a Freudian slip.
I was looking at the wrong website. Reading just instinctively, trying to quickly move on. I guess this is not in either of your lists, and for one person it would have been had they chosen to do something other than horror movies, and the other it just would not have been.
I think I know.
Yes. Off of that, my number 2 movie is Dune.
Nice.
So yes, Rotten Tomatoes score of Kelly 83% for critics and 90% for audience. So you're the 1 in 10 for that.
Hey,
you know what? I can't say anything more about it because Eric just, slaps me down now. Get over it, dude. It's been 4 weeks.
He just bullies you. Turns out
That's right.
everyone
I'm the
now
vicious one
knows.
here.
Eric's actually the bully. We both live in fear. So everyone knows everything about this movie, but if you don't, starring Timothy Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson and Zendaya and Oscar Isaacs and Jason Momoa, directed by Denis. Is it Denis Villeneuve?
Denis Villeneuve.
There you go. Go French.
I one day, Quebecois. One day I will get this name correct. And of course, he's done some of my favorite movies on earth, including Arrival and Blade Runner. It's epic. It's beautiful. It's the movie that after being locked up in quarantine and not being able to go to the theaters, it was the thing that made me love being in a theater again, having the sounds vibrate through me, the scale. It's like there's just no other way to see that movie. So I just really appreciated it. It was good. It's just a great, incredible film. And I think that's just objectively true.
My brother is a gigantic Dune fiend, and he tried to get me to read the books for a long time, and I just couldn't make it through it. He loved this movie too. So,
yay! Go team, brother!
I think the fans of the book are probably very pleased with this adaptation.
Yeah,
hopefully. I don't know. It seems pretty split. Everyone I talk to is either like, they didn't get Paul Atreides right. He's an annoying little shit. Or, God, it's beautiful and it gets the soul of the book. So, 50.
All right. Going to down to a small movie with number 2 for me was Jacob's Wife.
Wow.
Which I really enjoyed. One of the things that I like the most in films when I'm watching a movie is if I expect nothing from it.
Yeah.
Maybe even, Barbara Crampton's been doing so many movies over the last few years, and most of them have been fine. Some have been not so fine. And she's great. And she's been wonderful as far as a guest and things. So I always want her to do well. And this one floored me how much I liked it. It was just, did damn near everything right. Even to things you wouldn't expect to go right, where it just flipping expectations with the way people react to things that happened and stuff where I know what's going to happen when so-and-so finds out. No, you don't. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I really love this movie, and I'm glad it's on your list because I wanted it to be somewhere on the list. I just didn't realize it was going to be so high up for you.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's directed by, forgot to mention, it was Travis Stevens, whose other directed movie was not quite as successful, but still pretty decent, with A Girl on the Third Floor.
Right.
This is, I forgot who asked us of directors to watch for on our answer one. This would be somebody I would put on that list. Definitely somebody to watch for.
Yeah, I agree. All right. The coveted number 1 position. I know it's not going to be on your list, Eric, because it's not horror. And it's not going to be on your list, Vanessa, because you don't like good movies. Number 1 for me was the movie Nobody.
Oh,
that was
excellent
a really
choice.
Good movie. Yeah.
It was directed by Ilya Nashulur, who, when I looked this up, I was like, oh, of course he was the director of Hardcore Henry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
really
it was written,
tracks.
of course, by Derek Kolstad, who's written all the John Wick movies, and starring Bob Odenkirk. I just really loved the comedy, the ridiculous brutality, how hurt he got every time he got in a fight. I don't know. There was just something about this movie. I have seen this movie 4 times this year. That's how much I like it.
Wow.
Pretty good.
It's like my go-to movie when I was feeling like bummed or something. I'm going to put Nobody on.
And it does what I was just talking about with Jacob's Wife. really is not quite what you expect it to be.
Right.
You know?
Right. It's one of those movies that I wish more people talked
Yeah.
about. I don't know if it did well at all. And I don't know how you can tell if a movie does well unless it's fucking Spider-Man Far From Home, which like shattered every fucking box office record.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first movie to hit $1 billion worldwide after theaters opened back up. So,
Yeah. So that was my number one, Nobody, with Bob Odenkirk.
nice.
Wow. Good choice. I like that you went with like a personal favorite, you know? My number one is unfortunately a worldwide favorite. Speaking of Spider-Man, No Way Home rings into my number one.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. For a second, I thought you're kidding. The way you said that.
No, I did really love this movie. It just, it was epic in all the right ways for me. And it felt like something that could have been really, really bad, but actually went really, really right. And I think part of that is because the director, John Watts, and the writer, Chris McKenna, they've been on all of them.
Right.
It's the same team all the way through, which I think really helps it stay consistent. It means the ending titles always have that like homemade feel. No matter what, it's just probably just going to keep doing that whenever they get a chance. This one starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh my God, I could just keep going, but let's not.
We just talked about it for just a little while for this
I
episode.
know. I'm trying to give you new and exciting information. A Rotten Tomatoes score of critics, 93%, audience, 98%.
Nice.
Out of 25,000 people.
Oh,
wow.
Over 25,000 verified users enjoyed this movie, at least 98%. Surprisingly, the director of this, John Watts, also, I didn't realize where he came from. He did Cop Car and Clown.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That was like right before the Spider-Man movies. So fucking awesome.
Yeah, I really loved Cop Car. I thought that was a really strong movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here, what can you do with a $500 million budget?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But I know we've already talked about this like in and out 1,000 ways over. So it just made me happy. I'm so excited. Oh God, I can't even speak right. I'm so excited to see it a second time just so I can pick up on more of the humor and more of the dialogue that was whizzing by that was so fast but so good. And every time I caught something, I was like, yes. Also, one other small note though about it, when he's so having watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans right before this one, I remember being like, oh, that's so weird. Peter's webs comes out of his wrists. And that's kind of gross and also weird. And is it just packed inside his forearm? And or is it packed in his veins? Or like, does it come out of other places sometimes? And I had like a long stream of questions about this. And the movie also addresses these questions.
Yes.
At one point, his webbing accidentally hits Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and he goes, "Ooh, gross." It's like, yes, nice touch.
Yeah, that's good.
So, what about you, Eric? What was your number one film?
Way back down the budget slide we go on this one, and another surprise one, but I had no idea what it's going to be like, and that was the Advent Calendar.
Man, that was such a good movie.
That was like my number 6.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. It's and again, maybe we should have looked at more of our questions before we answered them. Here's another. This is his second movie. The last one he did in 2012. So Patrick Riedermont is another person to probably put on your list to check out, because this film is incredibly well done. Really nice looking, kind of unique looking too. It doesn't look like every other film. And the idea behind it follows through. And I don't know, I just thought it was really damn good.
Yeah, I did too. When you suggested that, I was like, I'll give this a try. And then I think I texted you right after. I was like, holy shit, that was amazing.
Yep.
I am definitely so happy that you suggested it, Eric, because that was just such a wonderful Christmas horror film watch. There's not enough good Christmas horror films out there. There's a lot just to watch ironically or because it's like hilariously bad. Very few just genuinely fun, good ones. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. I had a completely different list because I thought it was, but then I started looking on IMDb and all these movies that I thought were 2021 were 2020. So like my number one movie would have been The Empty Man,
Holy crap.
David Pryor's film.
Right.
But that was one of those ones that was just kind of lost in that Sony.
Lost in time.
Yeah, Host was technically 2020, which for some reason I thought it was 2021, and I really loved that. Same with it's not really. I guess I couldn't have counted it because it's not genre, but Promising Young Woman like blew my socks off.
Yeah, that's good.
I would have put Bloody Hell, Eric. That's another recommendation from you. I loved that movie so much. I really would have put that on there. We got a cat on screen.
There's a kitty.
Yep.
Oh,
Hopefully
hello,
keep
kitty.
his claws in.
Yeah.
You can do it, cat. I believe in you.
I also would have put Shadow in the Clouds because I thought that was a
that's
wacky,
good.
fun movie.
That was an insane movie.
Yeah. But released or at least had 2020. I liked Night Teeth and Fried Berry. I thought for sure, Vanessa, the Fear Street movies would have made an appearance on your list.
They weren't that good. I mean, they were like, I liked them more than you, but like, they were okay. You know what? I'm surprised isn't on more people's lists or any of our lists. Malignant. I'm pretty sure.
You're surprised that's not on any of our lists?
Yeah.
When I
Really?
looked up other people's best of that show, that was showing up on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
That
And I was a little surprised.
yeah.
Yeah.
Psycho Gorman
Oh, sure.
was another one that a lot of people like, but
Yeah. I did not love that one. We have some ideas on favorite TV stuff.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
You want to talk about something, Vanessa?
Well, I'll throw in the first one.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Is it in order or just random ones?
You're talking.
Awesome. Okay. My favorite my favorite TV series this year was Midnight Mass.
Of course.
Nice.
Oh,
I think I'd have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. That's one of the ones I had listed as well. It's just too good.
there was such incredible TV this year. I mean, just incredible.
I would say thank God, because I feel like I watched more really good TV than really good movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Honestly.
Evil.
Yeah.
This year's season of Evil was fantastic.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yellow Jackets I'm watching on Showtime right now. That is quickly becoming my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that.
I'm now 2 episodes in.
Oh, okay.
So I subscribed for a short period of time, hopefully.
Yeah. Is that a weekly release or
Yes, of course it is, because
Okay.
they don't want you to do what Vanessa's doing.
So I'll wait till they're all out then.
Right.
I would say with a caveat, I'd put Squid Games on there, but my caveat is minus the last episode
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
because that was so good.
So good.
And some of those episodes were just unbelievably strong. And then, yeah, it's like, damn it.
Yeah. I would put, I'm guessing you guys haven't had a chance to watch 1,000 Fangs on HBO Max
No,
yet.
not yet.
I was going to start watching it today, but then I realized sorry, one episode less of Wheel of Time. So once that's done, I'll be starting that one next.
I noticed you're not mentioning Wheel of Time.
Oh, it's good. It's not,
Okay.
it's good. It's not earth shattering. Me, I'm going, that's good. So,
And then also one that I really enjoyed, Brand New Cherry Flavor. I thought was really,
Sure.
really good.
Powerful. I didn't add it to any of my lists just because it's so disturbing,
Yeah.
but it is an incredible series.
And notice I didn't mention any of the Disney Marvel stuff, even though I really enjoyed What If and to a lesser extent Loki and WandaVision, and then Hawkeye way at the bottom.
what about Captain America?
Oh yeah, forgot. I enjoyed Captain America a lot. I found some list of like the Marvel Disney series from worst to best, and at the bottom of all of those lists was the Captain America one. I was like, really?
What?
Really?
I liked that one a lot, but I like spy stuff. So
Yeah. It probably did feel, I mean, each one feels almost like a slightly different genre from each other. So that might have been part of it. I also had all that stuff kind of lumped together and like lower down because I was like, well, like I liked all of them and it kept me alive this year to just constantly be like, what Marvel thing can I enjoy? But at the same time, it's not, there was some way better stuff like Star Trek Lower Decks.
Oh, so good.
So good. Consistently, every episode is so solid. And again, a series that's just built with so much knowledge and love of Star Trek. It doesn't feel offhand. It doesn't feel like any written by somebody who doesn't know the worlds that have existed before it. And that they can do whatever they want. I will watch every episode until the end of time.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredibly good. I just floored us how good it is. And like you were mentioning references, I'm going, well, I didn't get that one, but I still really loved the show.
Yeah, you don't even have to get any of the references to still enjoy it. I've been watching it with my boyfriend he hasn't seen Star Trek, any of them. So I'm like, oh my God, there's like from the animated series, that's Spock's dead body from when he became giant. And he's like, okay, like, it's still a good show.
Hey, if we're going to go off genre, Ted Lasso is freaking amazing.
I keep hearing that's amazing.
That's a feel good show of the year.
So good. So good.
What about any honorable mention films you like to toss out there?
Well, that's kind of what my other ones were, I guess. I mean, and you hit a lot of mine as your actual films. So
nice. I had a couple that surprised me. One was from it must have been the Portland Horror Film Festival, the Turn of the Screw version that they showed, which was the movie done on a stage.
Right.
And the idea was they brought in a new performer the night of the dress rehearsal, and the dress rehearsal apparently runs overnight. And then the story unfolds around her, where she's kind of living in the real world, but the other players are not necessarily playing in that world. I just thought it's a neat, no budget Australian film. Night House.
Yeah, that was on my short list, but as much as I loved like the photography of that, I guess I was like disappointed that it was exactly what it was pretending to be.
That's why I wasn't on it did not subvert expectations.
Yeah.
Which one? And here's one that certainly did. Wrong Turn.
So you watched that?
Yes. I've watched all the Wrong Turn movies. They're sort of like crap junk food horror film for me.
Yeah, and our buddy Frank Woodward directed one of those or wrote one of those. I can't remember, and his is pretty decent.
There's some good ones. Some actually good ones.
This last one, I was like, I'm not sure this actually fits the story of the Wrong Turn story. But did you stay for the after credits? Okay. Yes. Which is really the only reason to watch the movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. But I think the director did himself a disservice. I mean, it may have been the only way he could get this movie made was to call it Wrong Turn, but it's not a Wrong Turn movie at all. And I think he kind of messed his chances up a little bit, because if it had been released as just a movie, I think it would have been just fine. Wouldn't have been a hit, but
I wonder, because I don't know, did you notice that is the writer-director of the first Wrong Turn movie? Yeah. So I was like, does he own the name or something?
Could be, yeah. Doing the Hellraiser thing.
Right. I really like that shark movie, Great White. You guys bother to watch that one? I think it's on Netflix now. I like that one, but I love me a good shark movie.
Sure.
So.
I'm surprised no one has mentioned the second Suicide Squad movie. Did you guys not super like that?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wow, that surprises me because you're such a James Gunn nut.
Yeah.
I thought it didn't quite reach my top 5, but there was a lot of good stuff in there, and it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't hit everything for me, but I felt like it was definitely a nice return to form and a patching up of the story in the right direction. That, and getting to see James Gunn be James Gunn, like way more James Gunn. It's always good.
You are more James Gunn today.
Yeah, I mean, I did like it. I liked how ridiculously gory it was for a superhero movie. But you notice I didn't put the Spider-Man movie either, or Black Widow, or I think that a lot of those movies, I feel like they get enough love, and so I'll be like, look, that you don't need me to tell you that's a good movie.
Did one other one I want to mention? I don't know if either of you saw it, Inside Bo Burnham on Netflix.
Keep saying his name.
One day, Burnham.
No idea what you're talking about.
It's like he made 8th Grade. He's a really strong indie filmmaker that A24 had picked up his previous film, and he had done some, I think it was stand-up comedy. But this was like basically his COVID movie, and it's experimental and really weird. It's not quite any particular genre. It just kind of gets the feeling of isolation and loneliness and claustrophobia, and like pukes it everywhere. It was a really interesting treat of a film, but I don't know, not genre. So.
Yeah, I missed that one completely.
Okay, I've got one more weird one to mention and one more pretty good one. And I'll just shut up. Okay, weird ass film, surprisingly enjoyable, Slacks.
I have watched part of that and I was liking it, but I noticed that it has showed up on other people's best of the year lists. And I was like, shit, I guess I better finish this movie.
Have you seen that one at all?
No.
It's really dumb in all the right ways.
Mm.
Do you know the premise?
I mean, I feel like it's probably a pair of slacks.
Killer jeans. Not just one.
Oh.
Killer jeans. It's really funny. And my last mention would be The Power.
Yeah, The Power was a solid film for sure.
One other thing I feel obligated to mention is that in theaters this year that came out was also Paper Tigers.
Well, sure.
That was actually the first post-COVID theaters opening film I watched, and I had to watch it 2 days in a row after I'd seen it probably 200 times. But this time with an audience, so makes all the difference. But so that was cool. I'm glad it got to have a theater run. That was unexpected.
And I've seen that on a lot of people's lists for the year too.
Yes. Yeah. It really it spoke to a lot of people. And I keep seeing everyone else who worked on the film keeps posting all these articles of it being in top 10s and favorite surprise films. And I've stopped reposting because I feel like I'm just going to sound insane. And like I work for them. I worked for them, but like I'm part of something. I want it to be more meaningful than that. I don't want it to be that I just post anything that says the name on it.
Damn, I want to do a movie that popular. Like, you know what? I need to stop talking about this because too many people are already telling me how awesome it is.
It is a weird feeling. I will tell you that. Like, I still feel like I have to tell people about Prospect, but like Paper Tigers, I don't need to say jack shit. Like, it was in that rotating scroller thing on Netflix. I can just sit back and not worry about it.
Nice.
Well, cool, guys. This was a fun episode. I like when we do this. It's also neat to kind of go back and research and go, oh, I think I want to watch that again. Like Boss Level was another one that, should have been on my list, but I think it had a 2020 date on it. So,
same.
But okay, let's see. So here's where we thank everybody for playing along with the value for value model. And in fact, Eric, I think you said that Will Lau.
Yeah. He sent us a little Christmas present.
Thanks, Will.
Will, you rock. Eric says that you didn't ask for anything in return. That's really nice of you.
Oh. Nothing.
He's getting the value out of the podcast. See, it's value for value. So he gets it. Thanks, Will. But thanks to everyone who's liking and sharing the post, who is sharing the release of the episodes. This one will go up on YouTube as an actual video. I'm just looking at the weird shadow all over my. I should have done something like this.
Yeah, you need like a flag there.
Have you guys ever heard of the story of One-Eyed Jack?
I really do hope that people take the time to check us out on YouTube and see like what it's like when we stare at each other in a small room.
Yeah, that's very strange. Well, I just like looking at everybody's stuff too.
Yeah.
I like seeing your framed carpenter prints, Vanessa.
Yeah.
And your Mr. T pillow.
And your Mr. T and Keanu Reeves pillow.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's the cat.
With Stephen King and toys. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, Stephen King.
Yeah, you both have such a great setup. Kelly, I love your space. It just speaks to me so hard.
Oh.
Toys, comics, shit. I could just sit in there cross-legged, crisscross applesauce and just read all day long.
That was kind of the feeling I wanted to get was, you'd want to come in here and just be like, oh, cool. Oh, look at that. So, all right, guys. Well, we're doing a regular episode next. And if I remember correctly, we got everything mixed up in what we were announcing and everything. So next week we are talking about a film set in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I picked a doozy, you guys. So I can't wait to talk to you about it.
I picked one that I'm now changing. So I'll be finding another one.
Okay.
I picked the perfect movie, so don't worry.
Normally I'd kick you out of my house, but now I just want to kick you out of my computer.
Sure.
Much easier.
So we'll be back in 1 week, and we are talking Los Angeles. It might be in person. It might not be. We'll see what the weather has in store for us.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Strange Aeons Radio is artisanal quality podcasting, handcrafted with all natural ingredients, and edited to perfection by Eric Margaret. Our blistering theme song is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider dropping a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And so let's do that right now because here's what I mean, what the fuck is going on with Doctor Strange that he's just like, all right, yeah, I'll do this. And I'm willing to cast a spell that will, fuck with the entire world because you want to get into college really badly. And I'm also not the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a good enough excuse to have my concentration broken because a 17-year-old kid is talking to me in the middle of this gigantic spell and all this. I was like, this makes no fucking sense for what we've already been told about Doctor Strange. I hated that.
I think the one thing I did like is the trailers really made it look like Doctor Strange was a moron and like made a huge mistake. And I feel like in the movie, it wasn't that. It was like, oh yeah, we use the spell all the time, including for that one party that you don't remember. Like that was kind of an offhand comment. And that made me feel better about the spell itself. But you're right in that, like, okay, why is he doing a favor for Peter over something this small? And he does get it messed up by Peter just talking a lot. So that is difficult for sure.
Yeah. As opposed to just magic in general being Spider-Man world, that doesn't bother me. But yeah, that was a strange point. Not a great way to get to the multiverse and why it's a problem.
Yeah, it really made me dislike Doctor Strange. I mean, I like my heroes to have to be fallible and to have issues and stuff like that, but you don't want them to be stupid and this was a real lapse in judgment or something. It's just made me go, well, wait a second. Then Doctor Strange shouldn't be Sorcerer Supreme if he's willing to pull this kind of bullshit for basically nothing.
Was that like do you think that was the thing that bugged you the most about this? I mean, at least Doctor Strange is in the beginning and the end, but not in most of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it bothered me the most because it was the inciting incident, I guess. It was the thing that the entire movie was pivoted on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, I'm getting angry as I'm watching this. I was just like, God damn it, this is not good storytelling.
I guess go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, having said all that, there's, the cameos from both Peters and stuff like that. I thought that was brilliant. And I would not want to lose that. I thought that was a really great, strong part of this film. And the things you were talking about, Andrew Garfield, even I got a little choked up when he rescues MJ at the end.
I did cry.
And I was just like, God, what a great moment for him, because that second movie really got the death of Gwen Stacy right.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie surrounding it was such a shit show that who cared?
Yeah.
So,
that was exactly how I felt. I cried when Andrew Garfield lost Gwen Stacy, and I cried when he caught MJ.
Yeah.
And something that you'd mentioned, and I think that this is worth pointing out. Our Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man from the Marvel version, is definitely a much bigger superhero than the friendly neighborhood version. We get to see him in all those Avengers films. We get to see him go, into space. Like I said, he fights Thanos. He's involved in a lot of really large things. But then by pulling in those other Spider-Mans, I like the juxtaposition in all of that really well-written dialogue where Andrew Garfield is sat there feeling insecure because he hasn't fought anything that exciting. He's like, yeah, a guy dressed up as a rhino once and I fought him. Like, that felt really good. And I felt like they were addressing some of that weirdness.
Yeah, the method of getting to the multiverse thing was not great. It was clumsy and it was pretty silly. But I did enjoy what it did after that. And I thought Doc Ock was a crazy introduction and surprisingly violent in the battle of not like bloody violent, just like destructive. And the Sandman, I liked him. I like Hayden Church in that role. There's just a lot to like.
Who's it that plays Green Goblin?
Willem Dafoe.
Thank you, William Dafoe.
Yeah, he was good.
He killed it.
Yeah.
It was like he, found that rainy Green Goblin and brought it back and then some. All the villains, I felt like, I don't know, it almost felt like watching people outact each other. There was so much good acting in this film. It was pretty incredible and super fun to kind of witness. Sometimes it obviously feels a little bit stagey because it's like, oh yeah, all these actors that you never expected to see in this movie, here they are. And now we're going to literally pause for a second when some of them walk on screen because I know people in the theater are now cheering and then they do their dialogue. So there is a little bit of this strange sort of staginess around it, but like the actual level of acting and commitment to those roles, considering how long in the past they are for everybody, was even Jamie Foxx. I was like, heck yes, this is stupid good, just stupid good.
He was at least able to emote and not be a glowing CGI character like he was.
Yes. And they did do a nice little electro mask there every once in a while.
I thought that was really cool. I loved that they paid homage to the Spider-Man meme of the Spider-Mans pointing to each other when they were in the lab. And they're like, me, him, me, him. So I thought that was cute. I don't like my Spider-Man with nanobot suits and arms that come out from behind it and all of that Iron Man shit. I don't want that in my Spider-Man. And so the fact that he used more of that in this was like, God, I fucking hate this, that they've taken this really cool character and made him rely on gadgets.
But do you not think that the cool thing about his super OP-ness throughout most of the film is that ending where they strip everything away from him?
I fucking hated that.
Really? I thought like that was what it was building to. It was saying, look at him be too powerful. Look at him be too important. Look at him just throw his weight around where, he is not thinking about the people around him. He's not thinking about his consequences. And now he has to deal with that for the first time.
Sure. I mean, that's how it was built, but it never should have gotten to that point. That never should have been the thing, is that he's too powerful and now we have to depower him. You just never should have been given that kind of stuff. I hated when they did that in the comics. I was just like, you guys, are we out of ideas now? Let's just give him a super suit. And I don't like a gloomy Spider-Man. I get enough of that shit with Batman. Taking everything away from him. And then what? I mean, I love that his new suit is a suit that he had to make. It's cool, but I hate that he had to be depowered and forced to do that.
I hated it too. I felt really upset by it, which means
I hated the writing of it.
Oh, the writing of it. Okay, I hated it because I thought the writing was good. Because I'm now looking forward to the next film where I see how they start to repair that deep pain I currently am holding. So, one question I have for both of you actually is, what did you guys feel / think about the not Uncle Ben, but Aunt May being?
I hated that. I'll tell you, that one I come to my hate, honestly, because I think that she's great as Aunt May, and I liked his interaction with her and all of that stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, you took out this thing that I love in the series, and then replaced it with what? A gloomy Spider-Man who has nothing and no friends and all of this stuff. I was like, I don't know what, we're gonna make all the Avengers forget him and everything. Here's what I hope. I hope this is, the Multiverse of Madness is a direct sequel to this, and all of this bullshit gets repaired to bring Peter back into, it almost feels like they're taking him out of the MCU and giving him to Sony by doing this at the end of this movie. Yeah,
it has to be. There's, because if not, he's out of the Marvel universe.
Or at least forgotten by all of them.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
It's just like, that's not an interesting story to me.
I mean, I think that one easy thing for them to do would just be like, okay, well, all of the Marvel Avengers know about Spider-Man, as in they've been working with Spider-Man. So all he has to do is walk up to them and like take off his mask. So, and then they're like, oh, okay, I guess it's you. I feel like that's not as bad, but I don't know.
There could be off-world Avengers that didn't get the spell that remember who he is.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Here's the one thing that I did love about it, and I thought it was a real step in the right direction for this Spider-Man and this current culture that we're in, is that rather than fighting somebody and having them die at the end, our new Spider-Man is like, I can fix these guys. There's no reason they have to die.
Yeah.
We can come up with a way to help these poor individuals. And I was like, that is a really hopeful Spider-Man. And I like that kind of shit because that reminds me of who Spider-Man always was.
Yeah. And I like that moment that that's almost taken away from him by Green Goblin being responsible for the murder of Aunt May. Like, I like that they give him that moment of being like, this is stupid. Why did I make this decision? Like, I shouldn't be helping these guys. They're evil. And he's just about to crack and flip to the opposite side when he gets pulled back in and remembers that this is what she believed in and this is what she stood for. And it's also what he really does in his heart stand for. So that was pretty satisfying as well.
Yeah. Well, so final take for me was there was enough in this that I really did like to for me to say, yes, I like this movie. But there were just parts of it that really pulled me out of my enjoyment because I was going, why is this happening? This part is stupid. Why is Doctor Strange stupid? I also don't like that they're trying to turn him into kind of Tony Stark now that we've killed Tony Stark. And so he's got to be the guy that's cracking jokes and, he's got a problem with alcoholism. He's too cocky. He had all of this stuff. I'm like, is this really, did we need this again?
I feel like it was always there, but I do understand your point of him like filling that kind of void. Obviously I strongly disagree. I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to go and see it again. And that's kind of my take.
He was definitely goofier than the comic Doctor Strange in the first movie too, in the Doctor Strange movie.
For sure.
And so just curiosity, because I haven't looked it up or anything, but is Marvel getting Spider-Man back, or is he going to stay with Sony?
Well, they don't get him back. Sony's never giving him back. There will always be Sony Marvel movies.
I believe it's
Sony's just like, no fucking way.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's joint custody. I think that they've resolved.
You get him on weekends.
I think it's for another 3 films. I think they just signed a contract for another 3 films to do them jointly.
Right. So one of the teasers at the end of that was basically a preview for Multiverse of Madness.
It was just a trailer. It was hilarious. But yeah.
And I was totally fine with it because we got a nice glimpse of evil Doctor Strange from What If.
Yeah. That was so exciting.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. And there's never been, there's very rarely one of these newer Marvel movies that comes up that I don't at least like. Yeah. And I liked this. I like this one just fine.
Yeah.